Hey, good morning, everybody. How you doing? Hope you had a wonderful weekend. Let me remind you that trading Forex is risky, not appropriate for everyone. Your past performance, good or bad, is not necessarily indicative of future results. Please stay small, stay humble, focus on the long term, and never risk money you cannot afford to lose. I gotta get rid of this headset. It's too good. Can't hear myself talk. So I'm yelling. Hopefully this is okay. I'm gonna put my mic like that. My name is Wayne McDonell. I am the Chief FX Market Strategist for TradersWay.com. Thank you for being a client. If you're not, please swing on by TradersWay.com and open up a demo account. Give us a shot, pay your respects, do it out of sheer loyalty. Since I'm doing this webinar for you every day, why don't you spend 3 minutes? Open that demo account. I do these sessions every day, 7:30 in the morning, Monday through Thursday, here at Forex.Today. You will find me on the first Friday of the month at fxstreet.com, where I am Forex Speaker of the Year for 2016. And have been nominated for 2017. Very nice. So thank you for your loyalty and your respect. It means a lot to me. And there are Z charts. Yeah. S&P 500 basically flat. Crude oil up 0.25%, tickling 54. Ooh, feels so good. Yield on the 10-year T-note, 2.5. Wow, that's just ridiculous. Euro dollar down almost 0.5% today. DAX down almost 0.5%. FTSE up, but mostly flat. Hang Seng up a full percent. USD yen basically flat, and the CAC, the French stock market, nobody cares. Whoa! How dare you? That is rude. Yeah. It is rude. Yeah, the yen looks pretty strong. I wonder where that came from. Hmm. Trying to find my mousey. Where's my mouse? There it is. Let's see. Skip, 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 skip. So the Trump ban on immigration has been suspended. So those a couple of dozen people that were actually banned can now get into the country. Very nice. German finance minister Schäuble says the euro exchange rate is too low for Germany's competitive position. Now, why would that be? Weak euro makes BMWs cheaper for me. Why would that be bad for Germany? Oh, they must have to pay their bills. So they're saying, Germany's saying it's the ECB must make policy that works for all of Europe. Yeah, but it's too loose for Germany. All right, so there you go. You noticed China raising interest rates, tightening? Isn't that interesting? Remember how they were cutting the RRR and stuff like that? Now they're doing the opposite. Interesting, isn't it? You got to keep our eyes on that, don't we? In fact, that makes me think of something. Life is beautiful. Oh. Wrong one to the thing. Oh, I know. Hang on, talk amongst yourselves. Nice. Okay, sound is not good. Can you explain why? That's not very descriptive. Is it too quiet? I'm trying to use it without having my headset on because I can't hear myself. Yeah, okay, so it's better when I'm not mumbling. Yes, thank you. Would you talk to my mother? Wayne McDonald, stop your mumbling. Yes, mother. Australian retail sales, negative month over month, about 1% quarter over quarter. First decline in a long time. Jobs, the jobs, the employment data, the advertisement for jobs at a 2-year high. I feel like I'm missing something. What am I missing? Checks. Blah, blah, blah. Aussie retail sales. German factory orders register biggest monthly advance since the middle of 2014. That's interesting. But again, Germany's complaining about a weak euro. Wouldn't that be the effect of a weak euro? Yeah, Kevin, my headset is on. It's around my neck, not around my ears. So anyways, markets are not like it's all yen. We do it that way. So let's take a look. Make sure we're all on the same time frame. Let's do like hourly. Hourly there. Hourly there. It's daily. Put that to hourly. Okay, take a look. Kiwi yen. Got to zoom in. Right. That's the gap, huh? There's a gap down here. Went up. Filled the gap. That's Friday's close. And continued mission. Textbook, huh? Let's see if I can find that. Ba, 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 ba. Yen is just killing it, man. It's awesome. Let's see. How to trade the how to trade a gap forex. So I typed in how to trade a gap forex. This one under TradersWay. I thought I had a shorter version. It's amazing, isn't it? I start to look at all these other people's videos and they look a lot like my videos. I've been putting these videos on YouTube before YouTube was even a public company. Anyways, there's one version of there. I thought I had a shorter version. It just doesn't come up immediately. The 4th of May, 2015. Very nice, huh? Nice to have consistency, isn't it? Okay. But you can see we're not in a major place for it to go one way or the other. Okay, that's just Kiwi. Take it out a little farther, and we're just heading off that double top from it's like 10 days ago, wasn't it? 10 days, so 5 trading days ago. So we're just continuing that. Now, if you're a bull, you can take it north. All right, your timing's probably not great. You can look at oscillators. See the oscillator? Not the world's greatest opportunity for a bull. And bears are just, even not. It's not even a great opportunity for the bears. They're just trying to do what they can do. Right. So now going back into a smaller time frame. Yeah, maybe you're playing a gap. But it's probably not the world's greatest trade. Right. Not the world's greatest trade. You're doing what you're supposed to do, but you're probably not loving it. Okay. Now, if you're doing a gap trade, you're taking the gap and you might have it measured here, and you're like, above the 618. So basically, you're going to call it a 786. Probably even have that measured incorrectly. Yeah, so it's a 786. You're not in love with it, but if you take a shot, you put your stop up there. You're not risking a whole lot. What is it, 15 pips? And that's what I mean. You're not in love with it. You're like, yeah, okay. I could have lost those 15 pips. Right. So, and that's that, right? The cool thing is that you'd be up almost 50, but whatever, you know. So we'll come back and we'll look at closer data on this. Just want to give you a feel of where we are. And look at this. This isn't a good setup, is it? Do you like it as a bull? No. Do you like it as a bear? No. How come? Think about it. The reason for it, as a bull, you wanted it to bounce up at M2. It did not. As a bear, you want to sell it way up here, around 42. 42. So we're coming in to tickle 40. So I think the bulls have a better setup than the bears. But what? Are you going to buy it now around 40 and just hope it's a pure psych level? The next support is 39. Below that, we're basically looking at 38.50 or 38. I mean, like, what? So what are you going to do? Maybe fall 100 pips and then rise? That's not exciting for anybody, right? And do you want to sell low? Does anyone want to make a career of that? Waiting for it to fall for 1, 2, 3.5 days and then you sell? Now you want to sell, right? Now, right? Not off the moving averages, not off the central pivot. Like now you want to sell? Nomad's land? So it's not, it's just not, it's not sexy. It's not sexy, right? So that's that. Kind of disappointing, huh? Yeah, there's a lot of people in Atlanta. They look at that and they have very sad hearts. Do you guys watch the Super Bowl? I'm at a Super Bowl party. My buddy has like 50 people over to his house, and it's funny. His house is so big, you don't see anybody. It's like a ghost town. You're like, what's in this room? Oh, look, there's 10 people in this room. Hey guys, I'm a neighbor. All right, no. And then you start walking around. Where am I now? Walk to another room. Oh, hey, there's 10 other people watching the game. Hey guys. Finally, I find the owner. I'm like, hey, buddy, I have to tell you, I'm really disappointed. There's only 3 fire pits. I usually don't hang with people unless they have at least 5 fire pits. But, I'm here already. Yeah. But anyways, Atlanta in the first half played amazingly well. Really advanced and sophisticated offensive plays. Their strategy was fantastic, and they executed it, and it kind of made the champions, who are champions multiple times over. So these are smart guys that don't make too many mistakes. Well, they were baffled by Atlanta's unique strategies and plays, which they'd never seen all year. They're like, wow, this is nuts. These guys are crazy. They're all over the place. And so Atlanta was easily winning. And they never made mistakes. And all because the New England was buffooned or baffled a little bit, they started making silly mistakes. They've kind of got themselves into a hole. They were losing 21-0 and then what, 28-3. But like true champions, even though no one had come back from a 14-point deficit, they came back from a 21-point deficit or whatever, 25-point deficit. But they came back and they just played smart football, got their act together, stopped making mistakes, played. I only saw like maybe 2 stupid plays. The rest were just like grinding it out. And yeah, long story short, overtime and a victory, but not for Atlanta. Yeah, great. No, it was great. It was really good. But in the first quarter, I was telling people, because I have friends from Boston too. I'm like, hey, if anyone's going to come back from a 14-point deficit, it would be New England, right? And no one has ever come back from a 14-point deficit. And all of a sudden, it's 21-0. I'm like, you know what? The same thing. If anyone's going to come back from 21-0, it would be New England. And they did. So anyway, so lots of people from Atlanta are looking at this, and they're looking at this chart, and they have long hearts. But of course, no matter what they're looking at, that's how they feel. I, however, only have loyalty to you, so I couldn't care 2 hoots. I'm like, hey, did you see the pivots? That's even more disappointing. All right, zip over here. How does this make you feel? I don't know how do you want to do it, this way or this way, or I don't know. I don't like patterns like this, but somebody's going to look at it that way, right? And you gotta draw this, which I feel much more comfortable with. What do you want to do? Sell it high? Sell US dollar, you stink? Hmm? La, la, la. So today it just feels like a grind. Maybe it's just a slow open. Maybe it's Super Bowl and all that kind of stuff. Just feels like a grind. Feels like I want to be patient. Is another feeling that I have. Look at that test of the 200, test of the 200, test of the 200. Is that what's going on? How do you want to play it on a 15? I feel like I want to be patient today, or even this week. Don't you? I feel like I don't know why. Maybe it's just I'm in a mood or something today. Like I'm not in a bad mood. I'm actually in fairly good spirits, but when I look at things, I get like a spidey sense and it's tingling, right? You know what it feels like to me? Losses. So I'm like extra cautious. So right now though I look at the yens and the yens are doing what I want them to do. I don't know. There's something in there like I feel like it's gonna drop or pop or something. I don't. Yeah, what do you think about RBA and yeah, well, yeah. What do I think about them? I don't know. I'll tell you after. What do I think about them? So be there, right? But I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. There's like something gnawing at me. It's almost like go on vacation. Go on vacation. Like vacation must have a loser subconscious this week, right? Hit the beach. Is it still warm in South Africa? It's hot. Africa hot. Pretty average. What, mid 30s? 34, 35? A lot of overcast days, huh? Yeah. Well, probably starting to cool off. I miss uh I miss the South African wine and the people, of course. Food's pretty good. All right. So here we are on oil. This is where you start thinking. I look at this and I start asking myself long-term questions. I don't know. Do you ever sit back and look at things and think about what might happen over the next 10 years? Look at this guy. This guy up here on TV. I was at the Forex Expo in the Middle East. I don't know. This must have been 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 years ago. I can't remember which one. But this dude shows up. This guy here, I don't know who he represents, but this dude shows up. He's got no PowerPoint presentation or anything. He just like he had scribbled some notes on some flip cards, I guess, on the airplane or maybe the cab ride over, and he just babbled on. I'm like, nice tie, but what the hell? You're standing in front of people and they can tell you don't care. Cue cards, yeah. Now maybe something bad happened and his laptop was smashed or something. Okay, whatever. I don't know the circumstance, but still, it didn't look good, right? And I remember though, I think I was right after him, and they're like, "Thank you to that guy who babbled on about something. Great, great, great. We all know you didn't plan." And then Wayne McDonell, and I get up there, I pop my laptop in. I'm like, "Look, we have exactly 60 minutes, and I have 97 slides. You guys ready to go?" Yes. Let's do it. Boom. My name is Wayne McDonell. I'm like, let's go. Like, no joke. I'm just ripping through them. And I think it was my yearly prediction for gold, oil, and the U.S. dollar, something like that. I did another one on hedge fund trading strategies, but it was just great. I just remember like that guy had cue cards. I had 97 slides to get through in 60 minutes, and I did it exactly to hit the 60. Felt good. Yeah, like a champ. No, but it felt good. Like that's what you do. I flew to the other side of the world, did what I was supposed to do, and did it well. Done. Let's wrap this up. MoveOn.com. So, anyways, I look at this and I'm like, what if oil stays below 55 for years? What's the consequence? So I'm thinking this week we stay under R1, which makes a S1 bottom, so we stay between 55 and 53. But if you were a hedge fund, let me reverse the question, just for fun, and maybe you can ponder this sometime if you smoke a cigar. Like, what would Wayne do with his hour and a half? All right, let's say you have almost unlimited amounts of money. You have a billion, or 2 or 3 billion under management. People want you to do something interesting with it. Okay, great. And you're smoking your cigar and you're thinking, all right, oil prices are going to stay mid 50s or lower. I mean, there could be periods where it drops below 50. Now, I'm not talking 25 and stuff, but let's say 45, 55 for not just this year, next year and the year after, and maybe the year after that, because as oil prices do come up, and let's say as Europe finally gets its act together, frackers in the United States overproduce and bring it back down, Saudi Arabia and all these guys. I mean, I don't know, right? Let's just say we're here for a long time, and I did talk about that a year ago that I thought it would. What is the consequence? Like Saudi Arabia used to be a swing producing nation, which means it pumped a ton of oil, lots and lots of oil, but it only produced like its 60% capacity. And if there was ever a disruption in the supply chain somewhere, like a war takes out an oil producing country, like Iran attacks Iraq and there's no oil from both of those countries, right? Or there's a massive hurricane in the Gulf of Mexico, takes down 3,000 rigs, which happens. They stop producing for a month or something. Well, Saudi Arabia would just go out to the desert and go, right, turn the spigot a little bit, and they would just produce what was missing. How much oil do you need? Oh, we need 10 million barrels. All right, fine, easy, gotcha. 10 million barrels, done. Right? Not a problem, right? So it created a stable oil market. Well, Saudi Arabia is at 100% capacity. So if there's a disruption somewhere, who's the swing state? It's now America, right? So we've gone through all this before. OPEC is pumping 100%. This will probably be there for a while. But what's the negative consequence? Because they want oil prices to go up, which means stop pumping oil. But we know those countries are so indebted that they can't stop pumping oil. In fact, they pump more oil. They're at 100%. They may try to find other ways to pump even more than 100%, which means find new supplies and pump that at 100%. So what if this keeps going? Because all that does is keep oil prices low. Hey, Paulie. So what would you're sitting there and you got a few $1 billion and you got a longer term horizon? Isn't that a potential opportunity to develop a portfolio and say this portfolio specifically is if oil prices stay at this level for a very long time and there could be a negative consequence to this? Well, some countries are going to hurt, right? And eventually, if they can't afford it, eventually they'll default on their debt. So, which companies and which currencies are going to be affected first? Like just for fun, what if Saudi Arabia suddenly they try to sell everything they have and they can't do it, or they can't do it enough, and one day they just have to default, or it's Bahrain, right? Um, Gas prices are not high enough. I don't know, but Venezuela, okay, we lose Venezuela. That's probably going to happen anyways. But Venezuela goes down and something else goes down. Is there a way to make money? And if you want, you can donate your profits to the poor people of those nations. Well, you say you go right to CAD and Noki, but no, I don't think so. I think that's tied to. I'm thinking bigger. Like, do you act like George Soros and in short sell an entire country? Everything goes down in their economy, including their currency. Like, you know, I've been waiting for Venezuela to default and for the people of that country to take down their government, like literally go in and drag them out of the building. That's when I show up to start buying real estate on the beach. Yeah, so Saudi Arabia has their oil business and they can IPO that, but does that take care of debt, for example? And if Saudi Arabia is in trouble, how's Qatar doing? How's someone else? So let's say Saudi Arabia, even with that, doesn't pay its bills very timely because it doesn't have the cash or something, right? So someone else is going to hurt first, right? Because I remember when I was in the .com business, the .com industry blew up, as you know, and I remember it was almost like in one day, but let's say it was over the course of 2 weeks. I started getting phone calls from all my customers, and they're like, "Yeah, we don't have any money, so all our agreements with you, yeah, well, we can't really pay you, but we love you, and we'd like to keep doing business with you." I'm like, "Well, I got some bills to pay," and then someone else would call. Yeah, here's the thing. We don't have any money, but we love you and we want to do business with you, but we just can't really pay you. And it all of a sudden became like 4, 5, 6 calls in a week. And I'm looking at my employees. I'm like, oh my God, I got payroll coming up, right? And everyone was in the same boat very, very quickly because my customers were not getting paid by their customers who were not getting paid by their customers because those customers went bankrupt because they were stupid ideas to begin with, funded with stupid money and whatever, and the house of cards collapsed, right? And I'm not joking. Like it was a matter of 2 or 3 weeks, and I'm out literally selling stuff. I donated 150 chairs to a nonprofit organization. I sold flip charts. I sold printer paper. Like people are walking in like, you like, will you take $5 for the plant? Yeah, all right, dude, give me $5 for the plant, but you carry it out and don't get dirt on the carpet, huh? And when it was all done, told the employees, take your computers, take anything you want. If and they took everything that needed and locked the front door, slid the key under the door, and walked away broke. Nice. So I understand. What if an entire economy starts collapsing like that? Did I make money back then? Yeah, no, that's not a good situation. Okay, but what if that happens to an economy? What if oil is the catalyst? What if you had a country now? let's say you're the leader of an oil-producing nation. Okay, it's Ryanville or Rhinopolis, but those would be cities, right? Ryanton, those are all cities. So, anyways, just imagine though, this is a point where for the last 2 years, some country has been living on low oil prices, producing as much as they possibly can, but they don't have any more. And so to cover their debt, to cover their cash flow issues, because remember, cash is king, right? To cover the cash flow, they've been borrowing money because they're like, yeah, it'll come back. It'll be a bad year, but the economy will come back. Did you see all the central bank stuff? It'll work. It'll be a bad year or two, but it'll be fine. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. All of a sudden, they can't afford their debt. You're right. Ryan says they start printing money, and everyone's begging for oil to go up, but oil won't go up because everyone else is in the same situation where instead of reducing their output, they're increasing their output because oil prices are low. And it's a self-fulfilling negative cycle. I remember reading about it in Harvard, but what do they call it? A vicious cycle. Was it Lewis, the first uh, the first black man to win the Nobel Prize in economics? Is that right, Lewis? He did the virtuous and vicious cycles. Anybody? Am I the only one that knows the first black man to win the Nobel Prize in economics? Nerd, 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 nerd. Yeah. All right. So I think it was Lewis. Anyways, it seems like a vicious cycle. It's collapsing in on itself, right? If you ever watch Star Trek, the quasar is collapsing. Okay. So, anyways, how now as you know, as someone responsible for a couple of $1 billion, what couldn't you be doing some interesting research? Couldn't you be doing some like a interesting planning retreat with your staff, and your analysts, and your portfolio managers? It'd be interesting, right? Just to get people together for a weekend in a luxury resort. You're in the Ritz Carlton somewhere, and they all walk in the room. They have no idea what's going to happen, and they're waiting for you. And you walk in, and the room hushes. All the employees stop. You pick up the microphone, and they're like, Saudi Arabia's collapsing. Oil drops to $30 a barrel. They start defaulting on their debt. What do we do? You got till Monday morning to have an actionable plan that we can do now. Go. Right? Wouldn't that be great? And that's the whole weekend. You have to have like little committee meetings and subcommittee meetings. There's infighting between different portfolio managers of what to do and what not to do, and that'd be great, wouldn't it? Yeah, wouldn't that be fun? There we go, Ryan. Yeah, well, I was right, right? Lewis. Yeah. If you're interested in Lewis, his his paper that won him the Nobel Prize in economics was proving that uh, Western European success globally over history had nothing to do with being white. And let me tell you, at the time, white people were pretty sure it was because they were white, right? They're like, look, we're so successful. It's because we're white. Typical white man point of view, right? Turns out he studied it, and well, it's and of course, what about the success of China for 1,000 years, even longer than Western Europe? Yeah, well, don't worry about China. Another white man point of view, right? Yeah, well, China. So, anyways, you should look them up if you're interested in that. Why did Western Europe in the last 200 years? Uh, why was it so successful in its expansion? It's actually very interesting because I've researched it all. But take a look at Lewis. That's why he won the Nobel Prize. So, anyways, that might be a fun retreat, if you worked for me and I was, you know, you were a portfolio manager or trader. All right, so here we are. Gold we had at resistance last week. The idea was you couldn't buy it, maybe you could sell it, and it's still true. It's still true. If you were to buy it last week, you can see, there's this whole role reversal thing, this whole pivot point thing, and I mean that's when you would do it, right? Now, right before, right after non-farm payrolls, I mean it's a judgment call. If you're a bull on gold, it's not a complicated trade. Now, if it was lower than that, forget it, right? Now, really, last week to buy gold, you were supposed to buy it down here, and that's the other message I gave at non-farm payrolls. You understand? You can buy between the M2 and the central pivot point. You could sell at central pivot point or higher, okay? Okay, but you can't. I don't know. You had to be a bull, and if you're a bull, M2 in here is the right place. Then, sort of last hurrah, okay, buying it down here, but this was resistance. So I'm not saying it's a good trade, but if you could have, especially after NFP, but maybe that was too much volatility. And this is just too late. But you notice you're trying to climb above the moving averages, but this felt like a lot of resistance to me. This is a 4-hour chart, right? So going going to this morning, remember how I feel kind of funny? Kind of feel funny today. Spider senses are tickling, are tingling. Do you buy it this morning? And I say no, no, I do not. Well, it went up, Wayne. It broke. Yeah. So what are you in real estate now? You try to buy something expensive and hoping it'll go up even further? Uh-huh. I think it was Trump's book in the 1980s, which of course no one's read, even if they voted for him or if they hate his guts and they think he's Hitler. Um, Most people don't know anything about him. I read his book, I think before even the presidential campaign. So I don't know, or maybe I don't know when. I read it last summer, whatever that is. So, anyways, there was a time where he said the number one rule that everybody knows is location, location, location. And to him, he said it was a little different. It was like price, price, location. It makes, in the real world, right? So he's like, some dummy will overpay for an awesome location and have this awesome location and super high expenses and be dead broke, never be able to get past paying the bills, right? So he's like, it's price, price, location. So his first hotel was a completely bankrupt, defunct hotel that was old in a part of New York City that had like boarded up windows and all the stores and homeless people sleeping in the doorways. But it was a grand hotel that had been forgotten and lost for a very long time. The neighborhood kind of collapsed around, and nobody wanted this thing. So, he bought it for a song and all that kind of stuff and spent a long time fixing it up. And because of that, the neighborhood started to come back. And, you know, 25 years later, the neighborhood's beautiful and the hotel's fantastic. And, he made his first billion on that because the price, and then location. Anyways, I look at this, I'm like, no, dude, that's way overpriced. I don't care how much you like gold. Where were you last week when you were supposed to buy it, right? So you're like, okay, this goes up this week. Good. And then what? Right? Then what? I mean, it's so late. It's gigglesome, isn't it? Chucklesome. Like where were you, $100 ago, right? It's like it's a it's a half decent idea, like so ridiculously late. It's embarrassing. So if I were me, and I am me, so if it goes up, I don't really care. If I bought it here, I would care up there. But remember, right? Like if I bought it at the 382, I'm going for the 1618, right? So I'm looking at 1300. I'm going to be worried around 1250. Okay, but I'm in it at 12. I'm not in it at 1230, worried that it might go up, $20, right? But going back to Friday, um, we were in a little debate where I said, you should be selling around 1220. He's like, no, I'm going to sell it around 1225. I'm like, oh well, look, dude, to me it's the same price. Resistance here or resistance here, it's the same plan. What do I care? So I'm like, yeah, you want to sell it at 25, sell it at 25, right? But I'm like, this could be the top that we're already facing, right? This could be the top at NFP. This could be the top, in here, around 1225. I don't really care. It's the same thing. And here we are going above. So he was wrong, I was wrong, but that's fine. Take the loss. And that's that, right? If you sold it in here, I know what you did, right? I know what you did last summer. I get it. You probably were surprised on the velocity. I think maybe on this you caught it and felt really good, and then you're like, oh, that didn't feel good, and you're like, oh, well, it stopped and it's going to come down. And then you're like, oh, it's coming down. Oh, it's coming down. Come on, London, open. Oh. And then this, fine, fine, great, great, fine. And that's where I'm left with. I'm not going to buy it, but I don't like selling high in any scenario, don't you, right? So wouldn't it be like R1 down, double top R1 down, lower low, rally back up, then down? So I'm like, I want this to fall, but I probably won't even have an opportunity to consider it till tomorrow earliest, right? So is anyone going to look up Lewis? I'm actually interested. Is anyone going to look him up and actually read his paper and learn the history of economics over the last, I think he goes back 1,000 years. So some of the stuff that I studied, and he was part of it. So I've gone back as far back as the Sumerians, which would have been 4,000 BC or 4,000 years ago, 2,000 BC, um, to where banking and coins came about in Sumar. But I'm very fascinated by things like for example, Europe at 1,000 AD and China at 1,000 AD. They both had kingdoms and fiefdoms and such where you had um, kings and queens basically running the show, and then serfs serving them and stuff, right? Right? And that's how it worked for a long time. You lived, you were a peasant farmer, you worked for a landlord. The landlord basically owned you, not quite a slave, but not far away from it, and you served the Lord, and the Lord served somebody else, and that guy served somebody else, and that guy served the king, and the king owned everything, and that was the form of government, right? Right? And that worked for a long time. And then you you fast forward to like 1500 or 1600, and you think of like Venice and Genoa and such. Now, why did Europe change so much? Because all of a sudden, the kings were being replaced by, you know, like the French Revolution, um, the English Civil War, and there was a different form of government coming along, and foreign trade really started to expand very significantly between 1200 AD and 1700s, right? The 500-year period, even just 1200 to 1400. The amount of global trade that Western Europe did was ridiculous, right? Spain taking over Latin America, Portugal way out in India, for example. The Venetians were trading with the Asians for a very long time. Yeah, that's funny, right? But but so you know what led all of that? Why didn't China just take over the whole world back then? They had way more population and stuff. Well, the key was the population. So China had a huge population. What happened to the European population around 1000 AD? Black Plague. Yeah. The most important aspect, in my opinion, to leading to the success of Europeans was the Black Plague. So if you were a landlord and 50% of your workers died, that system collapsed, didn't it? And so if there wasn't enough farmers, suddenly you need to be smarter with the way you grew your crops. You needed to grow crops with less people. You see what I mean? The birth of entrepreneurialism, where if you were a farmer, you're like, well, if I used a better tool here, I could either harvest more quickly or I can harvest more. You see what I mean? Where before, what would happen if you were a farmer and somehow you produced more wheat? Are you going to be personally benefited by this? No, the landlord takes it all. They're like, good job, you worked really hard. We'll only beat you for a small amount of time. There was no incentive to do better. You were always going to be poor and hungry. So you're like, you did as little as possible. So suddenly, anyways, now you're on your own, and so you start using better tools and better technique, and you furlough one of the fields, and you do crop rotations, and all of a sudden your diet starts improving, and all these different things, and then you know, and then cities start developing, and then you need different skills, and it was just very interesting. It was the Black Plague that really went to it, and then you get to China where they didn't have the Black Plague. They had a completely different system where you didn't have to be entrepreneurial, right? The rulers of the elite class still ruled everybody, and there was no incentive to be entrepreneurial, and there was no incentive to do anything because someone was going to take all your stuff anyways, right? So it was just very interesting, and it all leads, hundreds and hundreds of years of this. It's just very interesting. So get into it, man. Learn your economy. Economics from a historian point of view is very interesting, or even a sociologist point of view. It's very interesting. So, anyways, yeah. So not a good opportunity for that. We did a lot of this stuff. What do you want to do? Get into the pivots. Now the yen is strong, and that's the one thing that makes me feel good because that was the plan in the middle of December, right? All right, so you're looking at that. Don't look at that. Turn away, don't look at it. You're judging me, I can feel it. You're judging me. All right. 618, bro. What do you stink? What do we do? Hang on. Sorry. All right. Just spending some money on some stuff. I want to do it smartly. All right. So 618. So what do you want to do? Buy it at S1, target R1. Do you want to let it drop and hit pivot profit zone? But that's a 786. I never like buying 786s. I kind of want it to go up now, but I understand if it drops down to 39 and then pops back up, but we're 39.75 now. So do you think it goes up just because of this 618? And I'm not going to do it just because it's 618. I'd like it because of the 618. But no. So I can't buy it at 75, or I won't buy it at 75. I wanted it to stay above 140. Don't you stink? So, whoa, whoa, whoa. And now there's my feeling. Right? I don't know what I want to do. I don't know. I don't know. So it's not a good opportunity for anybody, right? Like, right? Too late to sell it, right? Where were you last week, right? You remember, you were supposed to sell it last Monday. You're supposed to be short at like 44 and a half. I mean, that was 500 pips ago. 500 pips ago. And now you want to short it. I mean, it's funny, right? Like, now you want to do it. Where were you at 44, 44, 50, 45? Where were you? Like, we talked about it here, don't you remember? Where were you at 45? I mean, come on, right? Yeah, so good. It's good to practice discipline. Learn how not to trade. This is how not to trade. Right? Don't trade, maybe. I mean, honestly, right? You got to bang your head against the wall at some point and say, well, why didn't I sell at 45? Why didn't I sell at 45? Right? Because the pivot profit zone on a Friday. Why didn't I sell at 45.50 on the Monday? Why didn't I sell it at the pivot on the retracement? Why didn't I sell it at the 21? Why didn't I sell it at I mean, just like you can't do it now. Be a patient, disciplined trader. I mean, of course, you could do anything you want, but you wouldn't be a patient, disciplined trader, right? So then I want to buy it, right? But I'm like, so I want to buy it just because it's a 618. It's a little subjective, right? Don't we need a pivot? Don't we need a psych level? And I look at this, I'm like, you know what? I just got nothing here. Maybe I buy it tomorrow. Maybe I have an opportunity to sell up here. right? Or maybe this thing just drops a couple of hundred pips today. I'm not adding new trades to it, but if it drops a couple hundred pips and we find ourselves at this 786 38 and a half area, and it's a Monday or like Monday Asia, so for some people it'll be Tuesday, and we're down here, well then I get my counter trend trade, right? And the counter trend trade is take it up to 42. So I buy it at 38.50 and I'm going for 42, 42.50. Okay. 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 Yeah. Right? You know what I'm talking about? Right? And this might be the greatest thing to learn how to walk away. When do you hold them? When do you fold them? When do you walk away? Right? The deer wants to know if I scalp. Love scalping a deer. I love it. I love it. So a deer of 1 year. I can't even remember what year it was. 2007. I spent the whole year scalping. The whole year on the 1 minute chart. I only used the 1 minute chart for a year because I didn't know how to do it very well. Now I'm good at it. Brandon. No, with Monopoly money, Brandon. No, no. It was Zimbabwe money. It was real Zimbabwe money. Was it real money? Real money. Yeah, it was. Sorry, I'm totally in a funny mood. It's just funny. Like, it's a funny question. With real money? Yeah, with money that is real. Yeah, that's the best kind. I love real money. I love it. I love real money. So yeah. So anyways, what do we do, huh? Portable retail sales back up. No bones about it. Do you see here though? Problem is you never were really able to catch it, right? So how would you have guessed, since you never were able to really hit M3, how would you know that this was going to fall today? How would you know to sell the retracement to the 21 or the retracement to the 21? What 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 sort of analysis gives you the right to think of that? By the way, Shauna says it's hard to trade in 1 minute only and it sucks. Um, well, I learned how not to do it, and I also learned how the longer term charts make it significantly more successful. So I combine scalping with my other analysis, and it's awesome. Hadir, no, why don't we cover it here sometime? We can cover it maybe tomorrow. Why don't you ask me tomorrow? Or maybe I do like a client only event. That sounds even better, right? Because I spend what? Over an hour a day So I spend what, 6 or 7 hours a week, um, and then I'll say something like, oh, please spend 3 minutes opening a demo account. And there's a certain amount of people, I would imagine a reasonable proportion of people that don't even invest the 3 minutes once. I do 7 hours a week, and there are some people who just won't spend the 3 minutes. They're like, right? So I could just kind of say, well, why don't anyone with an account at TradersWay, I'll do a special event and we'll cover it. You know what I mean? I mean, it's not, oh, but Wayne, that'll take me 3 minutes to invest that kind of time. Uh-huh. So I don't know, but that sounds cool, a scalping thing. My problem is I don't have time. I don't have time. I don't have time. All right, right? 2 weeks, 2 of the days last week, I got less than 3 hours sleep on 2 different days. I mean, that's what I mean. I mean, I'm working 21, 22 hours a day. So I just say, if you want to be successful, imagine I'm the guy on the other side of your trade. All right? You got to out hustle me, and I'm working 21 hours a day, and I'm nobody. All right. So I asked a question. I'm not sure if I got an answer, but let's go through it. Retail sales were horrible for Australia. That's what this was. And it quickly made itself back. Now, why did it bounce back so quickly? Well, if you were doing your job as a bull on Aussie yen, your orders were right here to buy. Okay, that's it. No one expected it to spike down like that. Whoa, it was right, but immediately it fell, and the whole market bought it back up. And then people went, "WTF? Did you see that report?" Right? And they get out. They didn't. They bought it here, but they did it last week. They put the working order in there. You get it? They didn't make a decision to buy it. The orders were already there. And then they're like, "Oh my God, we're in the market. What? How the hell are we in Aussie yen already? Retail sales. Oh my God, get us out. Take profit." And they get out, right? Get out, get out, get out, get out, get out. So what have I taught you to do? Sell it to 21, lower low. Sell it to 21, lower low, and it's on its way, right? If you find yourself at 85, or I'm even looking at this, but the rules of engagement based on pivot points. So let's just not say anything else, right? The rules of engagement for pivot points. So let's do it this way just for fun. If you find yourself down here Monday or Tuesday, like Tuesday, New York at the latest, if you're down here, if you were short, you're supposed to take profit, which gives an opportunity for longs to take it back. And by Friday, could be Thursday, could be Wednesday, but by Friday, you'll at least touch the weekly central pivot point. It might fall back down, but it just as likely to be up at M3 or R1 by Friday. But you'll at least touch the weekly central. Okay, it's kind of like this. Like, this is a little late. This is like Wednesday. I mean, this might be Tuesday, New York, right? Came back, touched the weekly central. Okay, I mean, we can go back a few more weeks and see there another example. There's the counter trend trade the other way, huh? Look at that, beautiful. All right, again, if you bought this on a Monday afternoon, you would have, your target would have been here. It didn't work out, but you still had the opportunity to buy it back. Remember, this is profit taking, and no one actually really bought it, is what happened. So these guys took profit here and sold it again there. Let's see. So this has been trading so well that There's no examples of such ridiculous moves. I mean, I guess you can count this, right? Pretty close. Back down to the central, and that's it. So, on this pair, there just hasn't been too many examples. And I guess two of them don't kind of prove the rule. It's too bad. So do what you want. So anyways, that's what I'm thinking. That this will probably fall, maybe S1. You'll consider support at 85.50. 85 is the next one, but it's a little low. 85.20, but then you're gonna. I mean, this is an um, icky day, right? You had to have sold it high, and if you're not in it, you just maybe have to say, well, I'm not in it, right? So maybe 85.50 is your support, right? Maybe this S1, maybe because this is 85.50 here, so you might as well call it S1. Right? So maybe double bottom and up. I mean, how are you going to play it? It feels like a falling chainsaw, doesn't it? Noel, do I have a video? Well, I talk about it almost every day, and it's in my book. But if you're here tomorrow, no, we can talk about it. I'm tired, man. I can't believe it's Monday morning. I am so exhausted. 8:44 in the morning. I guess I'm supposed to wrap up anyways. I feel like I need to lay down and take a nap. That's healthy, right? Cool. Yeah. So anyone relatively new? If you're relatively new, I hope you found your your spot. Like you feel like, oh my gosh, this is what I need. This is what I want. This might be my team. I'm going to be here tomorrow, maybe every day, right? Daniel, I've known for many years, many years. You can contest. Oh, oh, excuse me. How's your travels, Daniel? Good. You on the mainland yet? Oh, still in HK. Right on, man. Hope it works out. We might want to consider Singapore. So think about our conversations, and if we had to be in Singapore, could that be done instead of Hong Kong? So, anyways, I'll look to hear from you. Yeah. So, peace on earth. May the pips be with you. May your profits be above average. And look, today, what did I say today? I mean, what did I say? It 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 feels. I feel like there's stuff happening. Like I look at these charts and I see lots of red candles, but I don't feel like I'm in a position now, meaning New York, to do anything about it. I don't want to sell it here, but I don't want to buy a falling knife, right? So I don't know. I got 5 pages of math to do. So maybe I'll do that. You know what it's like to be in your mid 40s and you're multiplying polynomial expressions. 4x squared y plus 3t times this is what I do with my time. Oh, awesome. I'm like in 7th grade again. I'm gonna break out pimples. Nice. Yeah. Hey, keeps you sharp. It does actually. It actually does. But it's teaching me patience and teaching me discipline because I could freak out and say, "Oh my God, I spend 40 hours a week just on homework and going to class and stuff, and I only have 3.5 more years, and then I'm done." 40 hours a week on top of all my other schedule. And yeah, 3.5 years, I'll be done. Yeah. Oh yeah, but I have to move to Boston for the entire month of June. Yeah. Oh, that might take some of my time. Yeah. Oh, nice, huh? Yeah. Well, keep yourself sharp. So sharp, sharp. See you guys.